Hey, Eli Stantz, the Gwinnett Rambler. You need to have an update on the Rowen project because I just got a very interesting email. I want to walk you through it. I also want to remind you that on Wednesday, June 9th, that's tomorrow night, June 9th at the Kula Pool Activity Building, there's this meeting where you can come and talk about imagining Rowen and what it's going to look like. Up until about a few minutes ago, we had seen no detailed maps of what's going on. Then I received this email and it opened up a few eyes and I think opens a lot more questions. So when we get done with this, I'll remind you again to come to that meeting and talk about what you're thinking about and how things should look. You need to have your voice heard with the Rowen Foundation, where your tax dollars are going to pay for the future of this county. So let's take a look at what happened on the emails. In my email box, I received an email from Rowen that says Rowen Foundation call for construction services. And it talked about that they're looking for initial bids due June 30th, 2021, and it talks about where you can go. Click here for details. When you click those details, you'll be taken to this website, which I will put in the notes of this presentation. Scroll down below, you can list your name and your email to get access to the bidding documents. The bidding documents will look like a PDF when you open them up. See, they're very small initially at the top, and as we scroll down, you'll see most of this is language and verbatim that we normally see when bidding on a large construction project. It will talk about conflicts of interest, showing that you're able to do the project, those sorts of things. Those are standard construction languages. What intrigued me is as I scrolled down through the presentation, we got to these sets of slides, and we see, of course, this one has details. Let's zoom in just a bit and try to scoot over there so we can see a little bit more. And a pretty nice little overlay on this one right here that gives us a picture of the Rowen Foundation site and what's included and all this stuff. There's 316, here's 29, and essentially all that area in between. There'll still be some private landowners that are held in the area. As I scroll down, talks about the education and the medical connections in the area. And a little bit further, we get to this, where it talks about site characteristics. Here's the shape of the site again. If you'll look, here's 316, the railroad and 29 are right here. All of these areas right through here, these are the new proposed roads. The color coding shows us what the plan is for each one of these particular areas. This is the first time I have seen any sort of road work proposal with this. What we've been hearing up to this point is we're still trying to gather ideas from the community. Even tomorrow night is a meeting set up to gather ideas for how we should use this area in the community, but we already have a roadmap plan laid out here. Let's look at the phases of what that looks like, because as we scroll down, they've done a much better job. Now, in this area, let's start. If you saw my last video on a possible trail system, it talked about moving through here because of the possible wetlands. If you'll look, they're proposing a road to cross over the railroad. That's going to be expensive. And then to make a bridge over the Appalachian River, right where the old bridge used to be. I haven't seen any studies done in this area. It does look like they're going to avoid the historic mill site that's in here in sight of an 1815 skirmish. So that's good news from there. On this side, we see that they're going to take a road that will cross the Appalachian River just down below 29, so you're going to have some issues here. If you've seen my video that talks about the rise and fall of waters in Appalachia, that video is shot at this very road crossing right here. So you can see how high the water comes up from all the impervious surface that dumps water into the Appalachian River and rushes down to this area. So this brings me a bit of concern. Look at the steepness of the hills through here. You're just going to dump a ton of water into this lowland. There's probably going to be some mitigation issues as well. Scroll down, this is the road that currently exists, but instead we're going to move up, make a roundabout in a different area and just duplicate that road further up. I don't know all the details. I believe that the Givens still have their used auto parts in this area. I don't know that they've become part of this, or if we're going to force eminent domain on them. That's again your tax dollars forcing someone to move in order to have this project go forward. Scrolling down, see there'll be a road that'll come back through here. Look at the creeks that we're crossing, the steepness. It doesn't look like the roads are necessarily following the contours of the land through here. We're just kind of cutting through with a couple of nice roundabouts in a few areas. In this area right through here, again, just kind of cutting across the hill country, you would have a much better time if you tried to follow the contours of the land rather than do what's been done here and just sort of draw to make best use of the space in just a merely industrial thinking sense. And then up here is where it ties back in. There's Colonial Pipeline 316. And then this area right through here where it takes you up, this is probably the oldest road in the section. Drowning Creek Road used to turn and go out this way. One of the oldest houses that is down one of these roads through here is actually a log cabin underneath. It just has external siding on it, so you can't tell, but I don't see that any allowance has been made to help preserve that. On this side, as we kind of come across and move back over toward where here's the Appalachia, here's an interchange coming off of 316 that will take us right along the borders. Again, here's that wetland. If you heard any of my other historical notes, there was a series of canals dug in through this area in the 1830s on the Appalachia. I haven't seen any resources done for that, and this area is kind of commonly known as Tanner Bottoms, well known for finding a lot of Native American artifacts in that area, and I don't see any research that talks about that, and I don't know if there's any plans to mitigate it, or if we're just hoping that that will fly by and we can develop it without any challenges. So there's a few things to think about. Then as we cross 316, here's kind of those remainders. I know there is another cemetery in this area down here, not far off of Drowning Creek Road. So have to watch out for that. Likewise, right up here back at the top, where this cuts off, the old Appalachia Baptist Church Cemetery is right up in here. Haven't seen any efforts to try to salvage or make good historical record of that. It doesn't look like the design has followed any sort of true community input from a historical or even deeply environmental perspective. I feel like there's a lot better things we could have done. Something like this, where you're building a bridge right downstream of another bridge, it would have made, in my opinion, much better sense to follow the old road bed of Still Road, which used to be Old Freeman's Mill Road before they kind of straightened it and turned it out, and come straight across right through here by the old road bed and tie in with 29. Let's raise this bridge up overall. Let's have a good construction project here rather than two smaller ones side by side that in a matter of years is going to have to get bigger and you're going to deal with a lot of trouble. Okay, this is just my quick overview of some of the maps. I haven't had a lot of time to dig through them because they've just shown up. Please take the time to go look at them yourselves. Please take the time to show up to the meeting on June 9th in Tequila tomorrow. Let's talk about if they're actually willing to listen to our concerns, or if they're just more maps in the file drawers and these are just mainly meetings to entertain us until something better happens. I think we need to leverage our voices loudly, not only for the historical significance of the area, also for the ecological impact of the area, and for future wise development. This is our tax dollars at work through this nonprofit, and I think that we should have a very loud voice before things get pushed out for construction bid on a plan that this is the first time we're seeing it. So, that being said, I'm Eli Stansel, the Gwinnett Rambler. Thanks for watching.